Now, you can take this any way you want, okay? First 27 games, the Eagles out to a lead at half in almost every game, 22 of the 27. The last 5 games, they've trailed in each one of them at half. Commanders, Cowboys, Chiefs, Bills, 49ers. But they only lost one. So they're either a team that is resilient or a team that's getting off to a slow start and playing with fire. With all that being said, who you got?
They're resilient.
Okay.
All right? That's how I'm looking at it. All right. Coach, I got Philly. I think they are embarrassed. They should be, right? As prideful and professional as they are, they're embarrassed, which leads to motivation, all right? I also think, and you mentioned it, and people mocked me when I said it with the Niners and why they would beat Philadelphia. The Cowboys are due for a loss. You think that 14 straight wins at home is a positive. It was in those 14 games. But now they're not going to – how many home games are they going to win straight?
I know. I said that at 12, though.
I think that could be a factor. I think Philly will be more – I think they're the more physical team. Even though last game they didn't really push them around. But Dallas is smaller, faster. I think they can have some success on both lines of scrimmage. And I think they saw with DeRon Bland. So I think whether it's A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith, I think they can have some success against Bland. And, Coach, maybe this is wishful thinking. But I'm going to say Kevin Byard now. He's been in the system now a little longer. He should be better acclimated. Maybe he plays better and helps those defensive backs. And then Shaq Leonard, just for depth. I mean, they needed some depth there. They're banged up in the linebacking core. So I think all those things will lead Philadelphia to pull out the W.
Okay. Do you have a score?
No.
Oh, come on, bro. That was Monday.
We weren't told we had to have a score.
Okay.
All right,
let Coach go and you can think
I didn't realize we were
Let me think of a
Coach,
score.
you're going to go. You come back with a score.
I'm
but I'm
telling
going
you,
I'm going to call it on Monday.
All right.
So if it's way off.
All right, cool.
So when I look at this and I look at Dallas's defense, and I say, okay, they've got the better defense in pretty much every single category. So that's a check. And then you look at the home field advantage, which should be huge.
Correct.
And you talked about the winning streak, but also the noise and dealing with that hostile environment, that should be a huge edge. They've won 6 out of 7 games, so the momentum aspect of it is another big component. And granted that the game that they lost was to the Eagles, but that was no gigantic loss. They really probably should have won the game, and they could have made a couple decisions here and there that would have changed that fairly dramatically. And you just go down the list, and everything points to Dallas, except the fact that every time they've been confronted with these big moments, they haven't come up in the big moment. And I struggle tagging it to some intangible, like not coming up in the big moment. But when it happens over and over again, it stops being, it starts being a pattern, not just sort of an aberration. And Dallas has somehow got to change this if they want to be able to change the longer term narrative.
You know what that means? What he said in short? F game.
An F game?
No,
F game.
I think he means F at the end.
F game at the end? F quarter?
I think
that's what they do.
I think at the end of the game to your point, Philly has been incredibly resilient. They're going to find a way to be resilient again and come out with a victory.
Okay. I think it's going to be a Dallas blowout. I think Dallas is going to
When you say blowout, we talking San Francisco
so you're thinking
type
like
blowout?
31-10, 30.
You know what? I'm going to take 34-14 Dallas. Here's why. One, rest advantage. I know it's not fun to talk about. One team's rested. One team just got beat up physically and mentally by the 49ers. Cowboys are hell-bent on revenge. I think they want the game more than the Eagles. I know everyone's playing at 100%. I still think one team wants it more to prove that, you know what, you guys got lucky in Philadelphia. The other thing, besides just that Dallas's defense is great and Philadelphia's defense is very gettable, I don't know how this is not a huge, high-scoring game. They just lost 42, and they gave up 42 points to Brock Purdy, and then the Bills scored 31 on them, 31 in regulation, 34 overall. So what do we think Dak is going to put up? I think Dak's going to put up 34.
It's going to be 35-31 Philly.
But the struggle that the Cowboys...
Okay, hold on. 35, what is it?
35-31 Philly.
35-31 Philly.
Close game, Dallas falters in the end.
Okay.
And the struggle that Dallas is going to have is holding up against Philly's pass rush. It's weathered, and there's been a bunch of games where Dallas will go 5 out, and they'll think that their 5 can block Philly's 4, whoever they're playing for, and they don't. That they did a really good job of being conscious of pass protection last time they played Philly. Now, will they be disciplined enough to do that again and just say, okay, we're going to win, we're going to keep 6 guys in, we're going to keep 7 guys in? That takes some discipline to do that, and hopefully, I think if they do, that could be the difference in the game, but they have shown patterns where they'll deviate.
Oh, Michael Parsons got to have a big game. Has to. Those sirens mean it's time for a segment so hot we use it to melt the snow from Mahomes Mountain in commercial breaks. It's Upset Alert. We also have Nick's picks coming up right after Upset Alert. It's a special live pre-tape segment. Coach, you've teased us with several hot upsets. In the break, Coach was like, I was going to pick the Jets, but then he bailed out. Who's your upset for this week?
For me, I think the Colts are a Minshew to win.
Oh, we're doing more puns?
The Colts
like
are
that.
a Minshew
A little hit
to
at
win.
the Monday morning headline.
I have been I think I'm a little bit more of a Gardner Minshew fan than a lot of people
Gardner.
are. I like him. I like him a lot, and they're rolling. They're on a nice win streak. They're scoring 25 points per game. I think that Cincinnati and Jake Browning's story was excellent and exciting to watch. But remember, Will Levis came out and lit it up his first game as well. Let's see whether or not he can do it again. And I don't know if he's going to have anywhere near the success that he had in his first outing. So
I must warn you, Coach. The last time Minshew was used in a pun on the show, it didn't work out. It was my Gardner's Minshew.
I forgot what that was.
Maybe the
Yeah.
pun just wasn't as good as that one. See, when you set the pun bar so high, like I just did.
What happened to
They got a shot. That's going to be a good game.
But what happened to like Lou
Close game.
Amarunu's defense?
Anamuru.
Lou's defense. Why can't he shut down Gardner Minshew?
They've been struggling throughout the course of the season. They're in the bottom third in almost every single defensive category. Sometimes you have seasons like that where, you've historically been good, you get some injuries. It just hasn't been anywhere near as dominant or as impressive as he's been in the past.
Okay, if Jake Browning wins this one, we're going to click on.
What are we going to do?
Well, he's on the top of Mahomes Mountain, so.
Oh.
That was just because he didn't want to. He wanted his little narrative to him.
Well, it still works. All right, go ahead, bro.
Should have been playing. All right,
Make
you'll
it a
see.
good one, a hot
You'll
one.
see on the bottom of the bar. I don't know how hot it is, but Russ Cooks pushes Staley to the brink. As much as coach, I hate to put coaches in this position.
No, you don't.
But I mean, we all see this one coming.
Every
okay? We all
coach is on
see
the
this
bud
one-
list every week.
We all see this one coming. And even though that's what it's a Russ Cooks, I don't think Russ will cook. All right, I think this is going to be a kind of a 2017 win. Neither offense, I think, is going to be great. Russ he's been efficient. He does hit the deep ball, and I think he'll hit a couple of deep balls, probably to Courtland Sutton in this game. But I like I said earlier, I think the Chargers are checked out. I think they feel like their season may already be over. We don't know. They still have to keep playing for a shot to make the playoffs. Yep. But they may already be out of it, and I think some of those players may be feeling that, whereas Denver's playing for something, obviously.
Why did you throw the Cooks on the bottom line if you don't really think he's going to cook?
Well,
I think he's got a shot. I think he's got a legitimate shot
to cook.
To cook this week. And the one
Cooking's
thing,
like 225 for Russ.
No, well, no.
it's like it's a low
225.
burner.
300, 275. I'm
Too
not.
hot.
I don't see that.
What I've liked that they've done with him now, or in the most recent games, they're using him on some quarterback-driven runs.
Yes.
They're actually incorporating that element of the game, and they're moving. He's moving around so much better than he has, in the early part of the season and last year. I think he's got a shot to legitimately cook. Maybe it's not going to be.
He could throw for 2, run
plus,
for
but
1. I could see that.
That would be hot.
That'd be, I guess,
right.
cooking. Relative.
Buckle up for this one, because I'm backing.
You've been bragging.
I'm
about
backing.
it. I don't know.
Well,
Let's
it's
see.
because
Let's
we
see what it
really
is.
had to workshop this one. It's time now for the Puxatawny Phil of Football to make his upset alert. Coach, a lot of people are like, why do they call you the Puxatawny Phil of Football? Is it because you're covered with fur and live in a log? I said, no, that's just a coincidence. It's because I can see the future and I call big upsets. This upset is so big, I asked our researcher to come up with one solitary graphic to help support it. And I didn't see him for 3 hours. I had to put on Twitter, has anyone seen Josh? And then finally he came in, drenched in sweat. And he said, I finally found one graphic to support your argument. I believe in Bryce and the Carolina Panthers to get their second win of the year over the Saints. Here's why. He hasn't been great, but the Saints aren't either. This will be the first time he's seeing a defense for the second time. First time he played, 2017. It was only his second game, too. He played fine. Probably are going to need a defensive score here. So it's like, all right, does that count as an upset alert if you believe in Bryce? Yeah, it's a team sport. Need a defensive score. And who, if you had to do a draft of quarterbacks to give the defense the ball to go the other way, understand, Mac Jones, number 1 pick. Number 2 pick, probably Jameis, who was getting the start. Maybe a little bit of Taysom Hill.
Dark horse MVP
years
at one point, but now he's
cooking back.
It's on the verge. Okay. Here's the other thing. Passing defense, yards per game. Here they are. They're all defensive powerhouses. Number 1, the Browns. We talk about the Browns defense all the time. Number 2, the Ravens. Oh, yeah. Then the Jets. Then you know who it is? Better than the Cowboys? The Carolina Panthers. Now, maybe that's just because teams are running on them because they've got an early lead. They don't need to throw the ball, but still. I think it breeds a little confidence when you see your name in the sandwich between the Jets and the Cowboys. And finally, Josh worked 4 hours on this graphic. Saints defense, very gettable. It's been regressing. First passer rating, first 9 games, 72. Last 3 games up to 96. Opponent's completion percentage up to 65. Sacks, because Bryce got a little bit, holding on to the ball. It's only his second game, 17. Last 3 games, only 2, and the pressures are down to 9. So if you're going to believe in Bryce that he's a franchise quarterback, even though there's a lot of turmoil in Carolina too, I think Panthers can pull it off, and that is the upset alert of the week. You like that one?
You've made my son very happy. My youngest son, Zach, is a diehard Carolina Panthers.
Really?
And every weekend he laments through what happened. So hopefully you'll be right, and he'll have a good weekend.
Me and Josh, we're both getting raises if we get this one right.
It's not a bad one. It's a good one.
Yeah, I think it'll be right.
I don't know if it happens.
Now, live pre-taped, Nick's picks.
Thank you so much, Kevin Wildes, live from the Bahamas. I'm still delivering Nick's picks. Now, last week, not great. The Texans took care of us. I should have won, the Bucs one, and the Chiefs one was just bad bet. That puts us 19-23 on the year. But don't worry, 3-0 this week, and we're basically right at 500. We start with the Rams going all the way east, getting 7.5 points. I know what you're thinking. Teams that go west to east don't usually win. That is correct, but they do usually cover. Vegas making maybe too big of a deal about the travel. Last 5 years, teams going west coast to east coast cover 60% of the time. We know the Ravens like to let teams back into games. At 6.5, we may be staying away. At 7.5, we like the Rams and Matt Stafford to continue the momentum, at least keep it close. Rams plus 7.5. Now, back to a team that's helped us all year, the Houston Texans. The Texans are laying 3.5 points against Zach Wilson and the New York Jets. That means the Texans need 11 points to win this game, as I'd be shocked if the Jets can get to more than 7. Zach Wilson doesn't want to play. His team doesn't really want him to play, but then they saw Tim Boyle and Trevor Siemian play, so he has to play. Meanwhile, C.J. Stroud can put up at least 20 on basically any defense in football. I like the Texans big, 24-6, lay the 3.5. And now, the game of the weekend, the Chiefs being insulted, less than a field goal favorite at home. And Vegas once again showing they cannot quit the Buffalo Bills. The Chiefs were bigger home favorites against the Eagles than they are against the 6-6 Buffalo Bills. What do we know about the Bills and Chiefs? The Bills cannot beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. This, for the Bills, is a de facto playoff game. Patrick Mahomes, despite the Bills having more rest, despite the Chiefs being banged up, this is a must-win spot. He will deliver. The Chiefs laying 1.5. So 3 picks of the week, Kevin. The Rams getting 7.5. The Texans laying 3.5. And the Chiefs laying 1.5. Excited to recap all 3 of these games, particularly Chiefs-Bills, with you guys on Monday. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.